is now time for our Preakness contenders, the 135th Preakness to be run this coming Saturday down in Pimlico, second jewel of the Triple Crown, and any sort of analysis of the Preakness must start with the May 1st Kentucky Derby.
Absolutely. It's not that, I mean, obviously the big gun Super Savers coming out of it. We're going to look at three horses. Two of them will be running back in the Preakness. One of them, of course, Icebox, who finished second. Not going to see him against the Belmont, but let's take a look. Looking at Lucky was the 1. Icebox was the 2. Out here in the 10 post is Patio Prado, who finishes 3rd. We want to take a look at these horses and try to watch Patio Prado because he's a very important horse. Now, there's no real trouble for Icebox. That'll happen much later in the race. A little steady early for looking at Lucky, but nothing major. But as we progress and we get around the 8th pole the first time, you're going to see what happens. And basically what happens is that Patio Prado with Kent DeSormo right in here, he takes a right turn. You've got 3 horses there lined up. Okay, you've got Patio Prado on the outside. Inside of him is Stately Victor. Looking at Lucky on the rail. Patio Prado taking that left turn. He forces Stately Victor in, and looking at Lucky completely steadies out.
Total chain reaction. And looking at Lucky, although not a speed horse, has got more tactical speed. He was totally thrown out of position here, and this was pretty much, he doesn't run poorly after this race. This was pretty much looking at Lucky's undoing.
Absolutely. Now, he'll make a run, and he actually shuts the door later on Icebox in the race, and just good race riding. And he makes a little run in the stretch, there's nothing, but he's thrown out of position. Patio Prado, frankly, really caused that reaction. Now, Patio Prado gets a little payback later in the race, and we're going to come up to that shortly. We're going to show him, but you'll have to try to follow him. He is behind Super Saver. Super Saver's right there. Patio Prado is back behind him, and we're going to focus on him in a second. We want you to watch him as we're going to stop it very shortly and try to pick up on him. There he is on the inside. Once again, Super Saver's there. Looking at Lucky's back in here somewhere, and Icebox is back in Lexington at this point.
He's at Keeneland.
Yeah, right. But Patio Prado will run into at about 100 yards on the heels of horses, and he'll steady a little bit. But I think DeSormo does a good job. He doesn't lose a lot of ground in here, and from there he has a very smooth trip. So a little bit of steady in a 20-horse field. Overall, good trip for him.
And well, there's the steady right there. DeSormo lost about a length or so, but he gets him right back into the race and punches up. And at this point, Patio Prado, the 10-horse, is essentially going to follow Super Saver, the eventual winner, around the far turn. There you see Calvin Burrell move out into the 2-path or so, come around that tiring horse that was conveyance to his inside. There's Patio Prado, the 10, and Super Saver on the rail. Now, Icebox starts to get himself in the race, and you can, of course, take us through the trouble he is about to have.
It's important that you watch him carefully. We circled him before, but he's going to move out, and you really have to keep your eye. Forget about the others for now. He's going to move out. Jose Lezcano looks for room, and as he gets there, he steadies completely to a stop. He tries to go again, and the door gets shut on him once more, and he's still having trouble. He hasn't even gotten himself in the clear yet. He is well behind Make Music for Me, who finishes 4th, and right there even he has to angle getting completely out of the picture. Meanwhile, Super Saver's gotten this great ride, this perfect trip up the rail. Patio Prado, a lot of good things are happening. Here finally comes Icebox, making this belated run, and a giant run. Was he going to win the race with the same kind of trip the winner had? He was winning.
Yeah, there's no question about it. But Icebox will not be running this coming Saturday. He will await the 3rd jewel of the Triple Crown 3 weeks from Preakness Day, the Belmont Stakes. Let's talk a bit about Super Saver. Calvin Burrell has won 3 of the last 4 Kentucky Derbies with Street Sense, Mind That Bird, and Super Saver. If you watch that replay, it almost defies any sort of of logic you could have going into a 20-horse field with the trip that horse pulled.
He deserves all the credit in the world. I mean, I know he's gotten all the credit in the world, but legitimately, he did everything right with this horse. He got him relaxed. He had him in a perfect spot. Was he reasonably close to the pace? Perhaps. But he was, about 8 lengths off it. And you saw that Patio Prado, who doesn't have his kind of speed, was only a few lengths behind him. Calvin did a great job, moved up on the inside. When he had to go around a horse, he went around that one. He really got an exceptional ride. The chances of things working out. And the other thing is, he may love a wet track, and he had a big win at Churchill. All these things become different variables when we get down to Pimlico. Can he win? Yes. Do I want to bet against him? Very much. I don't want to bet against with Patio Prado, who I think we saw overall had a pretty good trip as well.
I would agree 100%. Let's move ahead to the first Saturday of Churchill's Spring Meet. It was the Derby trial race that had picked up 85 and a 50, a horse we know. The eventual winner, Hurricane Ike, circled first on the fence, and Aconite in the yellow cap is going to come with that 4-wide sweep.
Right, and Aconite's going to be another entrant for Todd Pletcher. Wonder how hard he's rooting for him. I mean, I'm sure he'd like to win the race, but I don't think he'd want to win a photo over Super Saver. But, of course, it is the dogwood. Very nice trip and nice ride on Hurricane Ike. An improving horse who we saw finish second to the horse he's beating here, 85 and a 50 in the Bayshore. Since going to the dirt, he's done nothing wrong. Now, he had a very nice trip here, different story, but he's an improving horse. I think he has a chance.
He's a horse I'm going to fool around with. If he's above 10-1, which the way they bet the Derby, he might be 3-1 because there were so many underlays across the board in the Kentucky Derby. It seems like they just bet these 3 Triple Crown races just so wackily. I would consider using Hurricane Ike. Aconite, I've just never really been a big fan. I just think he's a cut below.
I like him, but I tend to agree with you. He just doesn't seem to quite get it done. I also wonder, this was a mile and 3/16. I don't know how much better he gets going farther. Hurricane Ike, at this point, I'm on the fence, but I agree with you. I'm certainly open to using him. And there's another horse I think you have to take a look at. We're going to go down to the Tampa Bay Derby, and we're going way back. Now, we've seen this horse in New York since this race, but this is Schoolyard Dreams, and this is a race a lot of people liked him when he ran the Wood Memorial off of. He makes this slingshot move on the turn. He's on the outside. Now he's moving up, but he's going to make this big run towards the lead right here, and you see him on the outside here, and he just, it's too early for there. And, of course, Super Saver's on the rail. Schoolyard Dreams taking a very tough beat in this race.
This was looking back, any sort of patient ride aboard Schoolyard Dreams, he wins this race. There's really no doubt in my mind. Now, Super Saver, this was actually his first start of his 3-0 campaign. He's going to battle back bravely on the fence. Schoolyard Dreams on even terms with him right now. He did not run well in the Wood Memorial, and his connections had hoped to get enough graded stakes earnings to go on to the Kentucky Derby. I think he's a horse at a price that A, has some talent, and B, is fresh because he hasn't run since the Wood.
I don't disagree with all that. The problem is it's Musket Man's connection, so he'll be bet a little bit off that. And I just, I wonder if Super Saver it was his first start. He wasn't quite ready. Odysseus, who beat him here, I wonder how good ultimately he is. I'm disappointed by the Wood Memorial. He's a fringe player and a horse to look at. I think it depends what price he is. If he's 20-1, you want to use him. I don't want to use him if he starts getting hype and he ends up in the 10-1 range. I just don't know how good he is. But I do want to bet a horse that comes out of the Florida Derby, and we're going to take a look at that. And it is not the second place finisher, Pleasant Prince. Right here, we've got First Dude, the first of these two right here. Behind him is Pleasant Prince, who will lose by a nose to Icebox, and you'll see him later. But First Dude, a horse that was supposed to run the Dwyer and didn't, and we'll get to that, is the horse that I'm very interested in because he was attending this fast pace just off of it. At this point, looks like he's about to pack it in. He's well back in there. Right here behind horses, Lentinor, the brother to Barbaro, is outside of him. Lentinor is going to completely saw him off. He finishes fourth, should have been disqualified. Right in here, you see Lentinor coming over, and First Dude checking out on the rail. He's been near the pace, looks like he's backing up, yet somehow when he gets to the outside, he re-rallies, and he finishes fifth in this race, should have been placed fourth. You could say the race was collapsing, but he was part of the reason it collapsed. He was near that pace, and he beat... he finished second to the horse Fly Down that we saw win the Dwyer earlier in this show, and he ran a much better race than Fly Down did that race down at Gulfstream. First Dude could be a very interesting horse in the Preakness, but he did miss our Dwyer when he popped a stone out of his foot. I don't know,
At a price?
He's a very interesting horse to me. Is he good enough? I don't know, but how good does he have to be?
I don't think he has to be that good. I mean, he's not running against superstar horses. I mean, with all due respect to horses like Super Saver and Patio Prado, and Dale Romans, by the way, a trainer we like here in New York when we get to see him at Saratoga, has 2 horses in the Preakness with Patio Prado and First Dude. Quick, what's your thoughts on Pleasant Prince, who did, I thought, more work to get into the Florida Derby field, or at least picture at the top of the stretch than Icebox?
No, I can't disagree with that. You see where they were. Now, he had moved up a little, but he wasn't super far back. They were so aggressive with him trying to get in the Derby. Ran the synthetic in the Lexington, didn't do well there. Then he ran third, actually, in that Derby trial. We showed a distant third, but it was slop. I don't think he's impossible either. I think you have to look at how the race sets up, but you can't completely ignore him at this point.
Once again, here at Belmont Park this coming Saturday, Preakness Day, gates will open up at 10:15 a.m. Who is your top pick? Is it First Dude, if I had to put you on the spot right now?
If I was betting right now, I would bet First Dude, thinking he'll be in the 15 to 20-1 range. It's hard right now. We're a week out. We don't know exactly who's running. We don't know the post positions, and I don't want to be held to anything, but I'll be very interested in First Dude. He's the one I want to go to. I'm rooting for Super Saver because I would love to see a Triple Crown chance at Belmont Park, but I can always hedge.
Well, we'll see if Calvin Burrell and Todd Pletcher and Super Saver can get it done one more time. The buzzer has Saturday, though. Thanks again for tuning into our Preakness preview here on Thoroughbred Weekly. Andy, thank you. I want to thank Eric Donovan. Thank everybody for watching as well. And we are out of time. Catch you next time on Thoroughbred Weekly.